Enseignement Sarao, Ongi Kuden, in Japanese, on Buddhism Lesson 12. The Buddha Shakyamuni's disciples. The sangha was a Buddhist community invented by the Buddha. It brought together monks and nuns on the one hand, and laymen and women on the other. The monastic sangha. For the fulfillment of his ministry, the Buddha was surrounded by monks and nuns. However, my study will concern only a handful of these, the most important. The key disciples of the sangha, Manjushiri and the Bodhisattva Universal Wisdom, the leaders of the Bodhisattvas of the provisional teaching. Manjushiri, Manju, for short, and the Bodhisattva Universal Wisdom, Fugen in Japanese, are the Buddha's two main disciples. In the Lotus Sutra, they are described as the two Bodhisattvas who serve the Buddha Shakyamuni. Manju represents the virtues of wisdom and enlightenment. Fugen represents the virtues of truth and practice. In Chapter 28, the last of the Lotus Sutra entitled The Encouragement of the Bodhisattva Universal Wisdom, he vows to protect the Lotus Sutra and its practitioners. In addition, a sutra, the Meditations of the Bodhisattva Fugen, considered as the conclusion of the Lotus Sutra, is dedicated to him. The other monks Maudgalyayana and Shariputra, Shari hotsu in Japanese. These two disciples of the Buddha were born on the same day not far from Rajagriha, the capital of Maudha, into friendly families. They had a common childhood. They converted to Buddhism through one of the Buddha's first 5 disciples. Maudgalyayana was the first of the Buddha's disciples in the matter of occult powers. He was called the one who is first for his mystical powers. With his occult powers, he rescued his late mother, the stingy Shodino, from hell by attributing his own merits to her. Sariputra, in Pali, of his true name upatishya, developed wisdom and erudition. He was called the one who is the first in wisdom. The first 5 disciples, they are Ashvati, Mahanuman, Bhadrika, Kaspa and Kondana, in Pali. These people were wandering monks, sramanas, who joined Gautama when in the world, he was seeking the truth. They had abandoned him on the pretext that he had returned to the world, and began to doubt his full Buddhahood. When the Buddha decided to teach his Dharma, he came back to them and converted them. Mahokashyapa, Rahula, Ananda Mahokashyapa was the son of a wealthy Brahmin, born not far from Rajagriha, the capital of Magadha. Mahokashyapa wanted to become a monk. Having heard of the Buddha, he decided to be one of his disciples. One day, when he saw the Buddha, he threw himself at his feet. Immediately, the Buddha took him as his disciple. His great rigor led the Buddha to entrust him with the direction of the sangha, the propagation and protection of the Dharma after his death. Ananda, the Buddha's first cousin, was considered as the memory of the sangha. He was called the first one in terms of hearing the Buddha's words. He was so called because of his phenomenal memory. He succeeded Mahokashyapa as head of the sangha. Rahula, the son of the Buddha, was abandoned by Gautama, who became Shakyamuni. When the Buddha returned to Kapilavastu, his mother Gopa, a cowgirl, in Sanskrit, or Yashodhara, sent him to the venerable Shakyamuni to be given his princely inheritance. The Buddha explained to his son that having renounced the world, only the Dharma could be transmitted to him. So Rahula followed his father. He received the minor ordination. After becoming an adult, the major ordination followed Mahaprajapati and Yashodhara. These 2 women, notably Mahaprajapati, were the backbone of the female division of the sangha. Upon his fathers, the Buddha came to Kapilavastu to settle some family affairs. His foster mother and aunt, Mahaprajapati, expressed to the Tathagata her desire to become a nun. The Buddha categorically refused. However, at Ananda's insistence, the Tathagata yielded. Mahaprajapati, thus, became the first Buddhist nun of the Hokekyo era. She was followed by Yashodhara, Gautama's ex-wife, and her maids. The Buddha entrusted the direction of the female division that he had just created to the Gautamide, another name for Mahaprajapati. The secular sangha, the king's Bimbisara, the ruler of Maudha, the ruler of the powerful kingdom of Magadha, was a benefactor and protector of the Buddha. He was deposed and killed by his son Ajatashatru. This double parricide and regicide first persecuted Shakyamuni when he took Devadatta as his advisor. Then, suffering from a smallpox outbreak, He converted to Buddhism, of which he was one of the greatest benefactors. Prasenajit, the king of Kosala, this great friend, benefactor, and protector of the Buddha, was a faithful disciple of the Tathagata. He financially supported the Buddhist community until the regicide of his son. The other laypeople of the sangha, came from all socio-professional strata, from all castes: Brahmins, barbers, criminals, merchants, courtiers, farmers, soldiers. Among the laymen, Anathapindata, the provider of the needy, the richest man in India, whose real name was Sudatta, who offered the Sangha Park, the Jetavana, the first Buddhist monastery, deserves mention. If Sudatta, a rich merchant, was known for his great generosity, Vimalakirti, a rich merchant from Vaishali, was thought to be a layman endowed with great erudition. A Hanya Sutra called Sutra of the Dharma of Vimalakirti is dedicated to him. He represents the layman with certain Buddhist knowledge who hold his own against the monks. Vimalakirti symbolizes the lay practitioner's desire for wisdom. Devadatta or Bhayava, the sworn enemy of the Buddha, first cousin and childhood companion of the Buddha, Devadatta, Devadatta, in Japanese, or Bhayava, a term borrowed from an Ivorian national language called Boe, which means, a malevolent sorcerer who at night, according to African beliefs, steals people's lives by seizing their vital principle, quickly revealed himself as a sworn enemy of the Tathagata. Having become a monk, at the instigation of his brothers to keep him away from the royal succession, when he discovered this machination, he has become bitter and paranoid. His ego became outsized when a Brahmin monk allowed him to acquire mystical powers. He decided to kill the Buddha and took over the leadership of the Sangha. In order to do this, he became the advisor of Ajatasattu, whom he pushed to the double parricide and regicide, to subsequently persecute the Buddha. He himself wounded the Buddha's toe, causing blood to spur out, and killed an Arhat, Utparlavana, who stigmatized his acts of opposition to Buddhist law. Despite all his obotic acts or acts of opposition to Buddhist law, the Buddha predicted that he would attain Buddhahood, after an obligatory passage in hell under the name of Tenno, celestial ruler, in Japanese. After ingesting this educational capsule, it will be possible for you to deepen your knowledge on this theme by referring to my sutras or writings of a Buddha, in Sanskrit, where it is developed at length. These sutras are available, in French, the original version, in American English and in German in paperback and Kindle books on all Amazon sales sites. Regarding the Amazon KDP links to my sutras, please refer to my TikTok or Facebook profiles or even to Lesson 11 of my teachings. All my videos are compiled on my 3 YouTube channels, Kosen Rufu TV, English Kosen Rufu TV and Kosen Rufu Well. For the links to these channels, see my bio or type the title of the channel of your choice in the Google search bar.